for years, we could not find healthcare workers to come into these homes, like in the middle of Cold Lake, Alberta. How are you going to get nurses there and other healthcare workers? The government has a program where you can sponsor someone from, and I don't know why they're all from the Philippines. I think it's other countries you can bring them in, but it seems like all of these healthcare workers, I guess because the Philippines trains nurses really well, and hospitality workers and other industries.
How poor the real estate market is right now in the city, and how it's kind of become a ghost town. But like, are people investing in your fund and investing in deals right now? Like, what's the flavor for that kind of action? Because it's obviously a longer term, like you just said. How does it contrast in comparison to the real estate market, which TK says is a ghost town right now?
Yeah, and it's not, they're different markets. The real estate market that I think TK is referring to is there's a lot of inventory, people trying to sell units, and there aren't that many buyers. And pre-con, there just isn't. There were a bunch of launches, but aren't that enough buyers out there that are willing to buy because they might not cash flow based on what they're looking at today. The beauty of investing in development is you're not looking at the market today, you're looking at the market in the future. So like Darryl, the deal that we're talking about in Forest Hill, you're not going to sell those units till 2025. That's a completely, I'm not going to tell you what interest rates are going to be in 2025, but I don't think they'll be higher than they are today. And so I think people either have adjusted to the new interest rate reality, or the rates may come down. What I do know is that we need more housing. So we need to build more. And if we keep investing in the future, the market will come. One of the things we always talk about, supply and demand. I think real estate agents look at it as inventory on the market, but we look at it as starts and completions. And if nobody's starting anything in 2023, in 26 and 27, we won't have any new inventory to add to the market because there won't be any completions, and the population just keeps going. So we need to figure out how to build more. And people talk a lot about affordability and prices, and one of the things I think is really interesting is no one really talks about the replacement cost. So today, the resale market is cheap because you can't replace. If you're selling a condo in downtown Toronto right now, a resale for $1,100 a foot, I don't think I could build that. I don't think I could build a new one for $1,100 a foot. Right. So if we need more housing, the prices are going to go up because the cost is so high. And now maybe they'll get rid of DCs. I doubt they'll get rid of them, but maybe they'll lower them a little bit. Maybe, we've already seen just very recently that some of the trades prices have started to come down because they're not as busy. So
process speed will help us also. Like, if the city is being as helpful as they've been, like we've seen recently, like that will cut down on some interest costs, which are quite significant. If you can save a year of interest right now, that helps to perform probably more than this GST stuff.
Yeah, they always say in development that time kills the returns. In the past few years, it hasn't been the case because, like, I'll give you an example. We had a project at Yonge and Finch that we acquired in 2017, and we took through the zoning process. We had to go to the province, what was the OMB and OLT. We had to go twice because the councillor just wouldn't agree with us. Even city planners were on board, but the councillor wouldn't sign off. So we had a battle. It took us 5 years to get zoning there. But the land value, I think we invested 17 million of equity, but the land went up by $35 million in that 5 years. So just on the land lift, we did really well. And then when we went to launch sales, I think we targeted at that site that, we would sell. When we did this in 2017, it would be selling in the 800s or something. And when we finally sold in 2022, it was over 1,300.
Right. Okay. So, and that happened to a lot of people, but the costs went up considerably from the pro forma too, didn't they?
For sure. But in that project, we're making a big land lift, and we were able to take our capital out, not all of it, but 80% of our capital out back to investors. And now there's still a 200% profit in the deal. It'll be 8 or 9 years by the time it's finished, but I don't think anyone's going to be upset. The IRRs will be great because we were able to return a lot of capital already. But I don't know if that's going to continue, because if you look forward 9 years, I don't know if you'll have the same level of lift in value. So, it was okay to say 5 years for zoning on that site because everything was going up and up and up the whole time. But if it takes 5 years now to do a rezoning, I don't know you'd have the same the same land lift. So,
but also less likely that construction costs will go up. So yeah, you may not have that same appreciation that we've seen, but the likelihood of construction costs going up another 35% or something like that from already where they are now, and the likelihood of the timelines going any longer, if anything, construction costs remain the same or come down, and if or increase very marginally, or the time part actually decreases.
Yeah,
so
that's what
you're not expecting as much appreciation, I think.
Yeah, to Darryl's point, I think the timeline that we've seen the changing of the guard at City Hall, and the fact that the city planners are now, as Darryl I think mentioned before, are a lot younger and more exposed to what's going on in the housing market than they used to be. It's just a different feeling, and I think we are going to see, and because the province put like 120-day time limit on them, I think we're going to see things move through that process quicker. I don't know, like today, and if you look in a very short-term view, you see construction costs coming down because they're not that busy. I don't know if I would agree over a 4 or 5 year period, you'll see construction costs come down. I think actually the biggest hurdle, I think, in the industry is the fact that our labor pool is dying out.
That's what I was mean,
literally dying, too. But retiring out.
Yeah, there's going to be a point where like costs are definitely coming down now, because like we see like jobs, we lost 45 or 55,000 jobs in the construction sector. But when things ramp up again and there's nobody to do the work, the costs are going to go bananas, right? So
I'm going to take the opposite view. I just want you to know, but go ahead. Finish your point. Finish your point. Go.
I think I finished it.
I got real world evidence here. Okay. So I'm driving. I'm at Avenue Road, when you get off and you go north and you cut through Armour and all those little streets there to get over to Bathurst.
Okay.
And so there's some construction going on there. And when I go through, there's 5 guys holding the slow stop signs.
Yeah.
And they're all Indian guys. Okay.
We need to bring in skilled labor.
We got people coming on board who are going to be doing the work that people who are born here don't want to do.
Okay. So I've been saying this for a while. I'm on the board of a seniors housing business in Alberta, and we own these seniors homes in rural towns. And for years we could not find healthcare workers to come into these homes, like in the middle of Cold Lake, Alberta. How are you going to get nurses there and other healthcare workers? The government has a program where you can sponsor someone from, and I don't know why they're all from the Philippines. I think it's other countries you can bring them in, but it seems like all of these healthcare workers, I guess because the Philippines trains nurses really well, and hospitality workers and other industries. We end up populating these seniors homes with all these Filipino people who are coming over skilled in healthcare and nursing. And it's funny, you go to these small towns in Alberta and everybody is, looks like you, TK, in terms of like skin color. And then there's a few Filipino ladies who work, or families who have come to work in the healthcare industry, and that's it. That's
and
the
their
diversity.
Families and stuff too.
Yeah. And so I expect that in construction, we should be doing the same thing. We should be looking at places where they have trained people. Like they always talk about how, the Greeks and Italians are so good at construction, and maybe it's India now, but bringing in, or look at China, like they built a ton in the last 10 years and now they can't build anymore. So why don't we go find the people who are doing that work in China and fast track their visas if they're in the construction trades.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you got anything from one of these clips. And if you want to see some more, press something on the screen here. Boom.
That was good.
That was good. I like that. That was good.